So what's going on guys, Kids here, and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the best Blair build in the first Descendant. So in this build guide I will show you what weapons and modules you want to get. Then I will explain every single skill and show you the best reactor stats and external components. And then lastly we will take a closer look at the gameplay and weapon mods, so you would be able to get the best results and highest damage possible and much more. If this sounds interesting to you, then let's get right into it. So then let's move over to the build. Blair is a damage over time character who can maximize his critical hit damage through his passives and abilities. As a flame based character, his playstyle resembles that of a wizard with a gun. However, Blair's potential damage output is a bit lower than the other classes, especially in a game that prioritizes DPS and quickly defeating enemy bosses. So that's why to build Blair effectively, we will focus on maximizing the potential for critical hit damage through his passive skill, the Pitmaster. We will try to apply the burning status effect as much as possible, which will increase our critical hit rate and damage. These bonuses will stack, so the more burning targets there are, the greater the buff is. However, with this setup we will lack survivability, so we'll have to be aware of our surroundings, but in return we will do insane amount of damage over time. So then with that said, now let's take a look at our build modules. And like per usual, I will show you two setups. So the first build will be for leveling, so from 1 to 30, and then the endgame build will be from level 30 plus and beyond. So first of all, for the leveling build, I recommend to use the skill expansion, which increases our skill range. Then skill extension, which increases the skill duration. Then increase shield, that increases your max shield. Then fire specialist, that increases the skill power of your fire skills. Then skill expansion, which increases the effect range of your skills. Then focus on fire, that improves the skill power of your firing skills and slightly reduces the skill cooldowns. Then dual claw, that changes your sub attack to a dual claw attack, that also increases max module capacity. Then increase defense, that increases your defenses. Then increased HP, which will increase your max HP. Then regeneration boost, that helps you to leech enemy HP. And finally the nimble fingers, that considerably reduces your skill cooldown. And then now let's move over to the endgame build. So I recommend to get the classic chef, that changes the Pitmaster skill to increase the firearm and skill critical hit rate, and using deadly cuisine increases the number of flame zones to 4. Then we have skill range mastery, which will improve the range of your skills. Then increase shield, which increases your max shields. Then fire specialist, that increases the skill power of your fire skills. Then skill expansion, which increases the effect range of your skills. Then focus on fire, that improves the skill power of your fire skills and slightly reduces the skill cooldowns. Then dual claw, that changes your sub attack to a dual claw attack. It will also increase your max module capacity. Then willpower efflux, that increases your defense and slightly improves HP heal. Then increased defense, that increases your defenses. Then increased HP, which increases your max HP. Then nimble fingers, that considerably reduces your skill cooldowns. And finally the regeneration boost, that helps you to steal enemy health. Then next up, let's take a look at the best weapons and weapon mods that we should use. So for our weapon loadout, the first one is the Greg's Reversed Fate. This weapon fits our build by triggering the burn on enemies with a max shield. The burn status effect increases our overall damage to that target via our passives, making it the best weapon for our setup. And as most weapon mods are very similar to all the weapons, because everyone just tries to improve the weapon ATK, so I will just list them right now. So on our weapons we want to add the rapid fire, that improves the fire rate but decreases accuracy. Then rifling reinforcement, which significantly increases the firearm ADK. Then action and reaction, that significantly increases the firearm ADK but also increases the recoil. Then concentrate support ammo, which increases our rounds per magazine and improves the critical hit damage. Then marksman, that considerably improves the firearm critical hit rate and slightly improves the firearm ADK. Then fire enhancement, which adds fire ADK equal to a portion of the firearm ADK. Then concentration priority, that greatly increases the critical hit damage but increases reload time as well. And finally the concentrated fire, that slightly improves the weak point damage and increases the critical hit damage. Then for our second weapon, we wanna use the Secret Garden, which is a tactical rifle. That is a good choice because you can trigger resource recovery by using the dimension skills like the Blaze Up, Burn Taste and Deadly Cuisine. And then finally for our third weapon of choice, we have the Afterglow Sword. It is the best third choice because of its ranged precision weak point damage. Once you trigger the death propagation, you will gain increased reload and damage on weak points. I usually use this weapon for ranged headshots if possible. Then next up, let's go over to the best reactor. So your reactor is very important item that determines your skill damage and can also include extra modifiers that buff certain aspects of your build. The better your reactor is, the more damage your skills will deal to enemies. I recommend prioritizing using a reactor with a high skill power and a sub attack power. Specifically, my best job that I got is this Burning Phase reactor that also has the beam rifle optimization condition, which improves our overall DPS by a huge amount. But then as for your external components, they're even more of an RNG, at least until you've played the game for long enough to find basically every single possible combination with a good stat roll. For our build specifically, I recommend to get the components with max shields, max HP, HP recovery and defenses. And as our build needs all of these stats, so you can stack all of them together, or just use whatever best job you got. And finally, let's take a look at our skills. The first passive skill is called the Pitmaster, that increases our critical hit damage when attacking burning enemies. Critical hit chance increases depending on the number of active flame zones. Then our first active skill is the Blaze Up, that shoots the flames to deal damage to nearby enemies and create a burning zone. Burn zones inflict constant damage and burn effect to the nearby enemies. Then the second one is the Extinguish, that retrieves stoves in the battlefield. Retrieving stoves increases defensives for a short period of time. Then Burn State, that shoots flame forwards. Enemies near the flame's arrival point are inflicted with a constant damage and burn effect. And finally we have the Deadly Cuisine, which throws a large fireball forwards. Large fireball splits into small ones, causing extra explosion. Then explosion damage inflicts the burn effect and creates a burning zone on the ground. And last but not the least, let's go over a few tips and tricks. So the best way to play this character is to focus on applying burn and creating flame zones to maximize your critical hit rate and damage. Critical hit damage increases when you inflict burn, while your critical hit rate increases with the number of zones you create. Mastering Blair requires practice and skillful play in various situations. Blair abilities are geared towards more AoV than single target, so usually you want to start the fight by creating a fiery explosion within a 4-meter radius using the Blaze Up. Then for single target damage, use the Burn Taste to deal fire damage and focus on one target. For optimal AoV damage, you can stack Burn up to 3 times before using the Deadly Cuisine for huge damage, and that's about it. So with that said, I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or suggestions, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and not miss any more amazing content. With that said, you have an amazing day and I will see you in the next one, so take it easy, peace.